Welcome to Episode Echoes. Silo Season 2 Episode 1 has just dropped on Apple TV Plus, and it's safe to say that it was not what I expected. So in this video I'll be breaking down the key moments of this episode and all the clues you must have missed. So before we start, if you would like a reminder of what happened in the first season, I've posted brief recaps of all the episodes of that amazing first season on my channel for you to easily catch up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop when we release new videos. And since this review will be describing key plot points and events of the episode, a spoiler alert is in place.
Spoiler!
The episode starts with a short video of a successful rebellion in a different silo. Basically the same video as we saw in the last teaser released by Apple. Young Tim is running through to the rebel camp to deliver a note to his father from engineering, which says that the generators will be flooded in 15 minutes. They have no choice at this point other than to escalate their plans and try to take over the silo. The scenes are brief, but the rebels are successful and decide to go out en masse. And as expected, they all die. Their silo's outside doors are unable to be locked due to several corpses in the way, which creates an opportunity for Juliette to get in. Once inside, she shows ingenuity and wits to survive. Her first challenge was to get out of the cleaning uniform, which had started to be affected by the toxins from outside. Next, she quickly finds some supplies, if you count functional tools like a crowbar, torchlight and water bottle, and a change of clothes while exploring the silo. I suspect that seeing a mirror in one of the apartments that she checks out gives her memories of the silo that she's just left. And smashing the mirror out of curiosity, she sees that there is also a camera hidden behind it. Juliette barely says a word besides cursing out or screaming in frustration throughout the episode. To be fair, there's no one to talk to and she was never much of a talker anyway. The episode also explores Juliette's backstory some more, showing her early days as an engineer down in mechanical, and how she formed friendships with Shirley and Walker. These flashbacks humanise Juliette some more, in a way that was not necessary and provided more insight into her relationships, in an also unnecessary manner. I believe that what the showrunners tried to achieve with the flashbacks was more of showing us Juliette's skills and motivations as an engineer. If this was truly their intent, they failed at it, and some of her feats of survival are down to luck, rather than any engineering skill or curiosity. When she comes to the level where the rebellion fight had taken place in what looks like the judicial level, she makes it a priority to figure out a way to get across the large gap in the concrete. In the original rebellion, they used a large steel gate carried by several people to bridge the gap, but Juliette cannot just walk across as the steel gate had been moved. She first tries to swing across. She does this by cutting down several bodies of those hung on the sides of the passage to gather enough rope for a swing. She, using the power of film and zero science, ties a rope hanging down from the side of the railing and somehow manages to swing in front of it. She almost dies in this attempt when the rope snaps and she falls off. She's lucky, however, that she falls into water, and even though she has no clue how to swim, manages to survive. Her next attempt involves ropes again, but this time she uses the ropes as a pulley to place a crudely constructed bridge across the gap. The whole mechanics of the pulley are barely understandable and science-defying, but it works, and she manages to place her bridge across the gap. She barely makes it across this time. However, we can see the disappointment written all over her face when she doesn't find anything noteworthy in the section she struggled to cross. She decides to go back to the central column and improvises with the barrels to get the large steel gate across the gap as a more permanent bridge solution. However, just as she's about to walk away, she hears the sound of music coming from the area behind her and goes to check it out. There, she sees another sealed door which she tries to pry open unsuccessfully. This is the point where we meet our first character of this new silo, a man behind the locked doors who gives Juliette a calm and chilling warning. "You try to open the door and I'm going to kill you." He doesn't seem to be bluffing at all. I find the pacing to be off and all over the place. We don't exactly get a sense of how many days she has spent in this new silo since being sent out to clean. Did all the events in this episode happen in a day or several days? Also, it wouldn't really be silo if they didn't leave so many unanswered questions, like how is part of this floor still powered if the generator and the levels below are flooded? How long ago did the rebellion that destroyed this silo happen? The bodies look like they've been there a while, but other parts of the silos seem as if the rebellion couldn't have been that long. For example, the man behind the doors in the silo seems about the same age as Bernard, so it's safe to assume that he's able to open and close the doors whenever he wants, or that he's only survived a few years. It's also safe to assume that there are no other survivors, seeing as all the crops died out. There is no water and no power. Also, I found some of Juliette's decision-making to be suspect in this episode. It was as if she forgot all the truths she discovered about her silo. As someone coming from outside, perhaps survival should have been her focus, rather than jumping into explorer mode. And as far as exploring was concerned, she could have easily tried to find the surveillance room of her current silo to get an overview of the state of everything. It did not make any sense for her to keep wandering blindly around the silo, knowing that such a room existed. The fact that she broke one of the mirrors and found a camera could have been a clue for her to seek out the surveillance room. How was she certain that no one was watching her this time? And while I'm still ranting, I would really love for someone to explain why TV series insist on such dark lighting that viewers can barely see the action. Overall, this episode feels weak in storytelling, pacing, and continuity with the first season's narrative and character development. I would say this is the weakest episode from the entire show yet, considering all the other episodes from season 1. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this episode? Kindly leave a comment below to share your thoughts with me. Also, if you haven't already, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to Episode Echoes. And since I'll be reviewing every episode of Silo Season 2, as well as some other interesting upcoming series, you have to stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.